The overwhelming majority of people who try to make it in online poker will not make it. There is a massive distance between where people are and where they want to be. In this video, I'm going to outline the 5 biggest reasons that create a huge separation between people's aspirations and their achievements in online poker. What is it that makes success in this form of the game simply a fantasy for most people? And what do we need to do to increase the chances of that success becoming a reality? Let's find out. Area number 1, capacity for suffering. Online poker is going to make you suffer. It's going to really frustrate you. It's going to make you question your self-worth. Your ego is going to take a massive hit. You're going to become angry, defensive, withdrawn into yourself during bad times. You're going to show up at the table one week and everything's going to feel okay, and the next week you're going to wonder if you ever understood anything at all about the game. Downswings are going to feel endless, rigged, unfair. You're going to feel like the victim. You're going to feel like you're powerless. No matter what you try to do, you just cannot win in March or this week or even this year in some circumstances. We've looked at variance simulations before on this channel. It's no shock to us by this point that sometimes we can play 100,000 hands that's totally different in results from another 100,000 hands, even though we're the same player with the same ability and true win rate. The thing is that online poker is going to delude you about how good you are when you're running good, and it's also going to delude you about how bad you are when you're running bad. I've known a lot of people who have tried to do this professionally and who have successfully done this professionally, and some who have failed and given up and done something else. The reason for the failure, or the primary one, is that they're unable to handle the amount of adversity this game is going to throw at you. You're going to feel awful. You are not just going to have an easy ride. If you're getting into this discipline to try to give yourself freedom, to give yourself money, to get to a point where you can kind of say F you to the corporate world or whatever your former occupation was or anything like that, you're going to struggle, because those are means to ends. Through the journey of getting those ends, you have to endure, struggle, suffer, lose, downswing, question yourself, fall apart, build yourself back together again. It really is a saga to try to get there in online poker. And if you are thinking about the results, always chasing the carrot on the stick, no pun intended, you're going to go insane. What we need to do instead is see success as a very long-term goal, and we need to simply focus on the execution of our strategy and what we're doing and learning and studying and working with others and playing as well as we can. It's the only way that this makes sense. And if you think this is an easy ride, if you think that this is going to be easier than quitting your job and your profession, quote unquote, whatever that means to you, you are wrong. This is going to be harder than almost anything else that you could do. It might be more fun at times, it might be more thrilling, it might be more liberating, but it's going to be harder, not easier. So if you're looking for an easy way out, if you're sat there thinking, I don't really know what to do at this next phase of my life, I've become redundant, I'm sick of my career, I'm not enjoying it, I had to get out of that workplace, it was toxic, I've had an injury and I can't work the physical job I used to do, whatever it is, and you're looking at online poker like, I like that. That's a fun thing I do in my spare time. I like going to the casino on a Sunday. I like playing a poker for 6 hours. It's really fun. I look forward to it. Maybe I could do this for a living. You are in for an absolute shock. You're going to get pulverized by the game, put through the blender until there's nothing left of you, and you're going to have to build yourself back together again. So if you're suffering, if you're going through bad times, and you wish it would stop in poker, the problem is not poker. The problem is that you don't have an unusually vast tolerance for suffering. You need to have superhero levels of tolerance and resilience in order to hang in there long enough to progress and to make it. And I've seen so many people come and go who just don't work on that. And when you first come into poker, you will not have that level of resilience because no one starts off with it. It's like if you're playing an RPG, role-playing game, computer game, your character generally doesn't start off as an end boss. Your resilience stat's going to be like 3 and it needs to be 78 for you to have a chance. So remember that for the first couple of years of your poker career, or first couple of years of taking poker seriously. You're going to have to build it up over time, and it's going to feel like you're failing for quite some time as you build that up. But ask yourself, am I becoming more resilient? or am I not? Because if you're not becoming more resilient, you're going to have to fix that if there's any hope of you getting to where you want to be. Having scared the hell out of you and made you look at this traumatized carrot for a while now, let me move on to point 2. What do you think point 2 is? Looking at this picture. That's right. You have to be in love with poker. You have to absolutely love it for what it is and not for what it can do for you. If it does something good for you, if it gets you out of that career you're sick of, if it gives you freedom to travel, lovely, amazing, I'm thrilled for you. But that is a byproduct of loving poker, obsessing over it, and giving your all to it. You have to make vows to poker in your head. You have to treat it like someone you're marrying. And you have to remember that you have made those vows and those pledges when you begin your poker career. And when it throws all the bad stuff at you that we talked about in point 1, you have to remember that you love it, and you have to focus on the strategic aspect of the game even while the results are all going against you. And you have to do that when the results are going for you as well, so that you don't get swept up in this invincibility tilt and just think you can do whatever you want. When I was really young, like I was maybe about 20 years old perhaps, and I was really just starting my poker career. I'd played home games, I'd played a bit online, but not seriously. I didn't really know what I was doing yet. I wasn't particularly good, but I did have some natural aptitude for the game. When I would be like on a train or a bus, like traveling somewhere or sitting in a lecture at university or just sitting in my house, I would sometimes think about a certain situation in poker, like check raising the flop, and I would feel something in my chest not too dissimilar to the butterflies you might feel as a love-struck kid, like in your first relationship or something like that. It was this enamored desire to play, but more than that, it was like that game is so beautiful that I can't help but swoon for it type of feeling. And I knew at that point that this is what I wanted to do. And if you don't feel physical sensations about poker, maybe you're just better adjusted than I am. Maybe that's actually more normal. But you need to feel some level of obsession like that. You need to be thinking about the game when you're on the train. You need to be like excited about an exploit. You need to be curious, not furious. I got this from a podcast I listened to. The more you love an inanimate thing like poker, the more curious you're going to be about it. The more you could care less about it, the more furious you're going to be about it when it treats you badly. It's vital that you cultivate a deep affection for the game and the strategic ways of the game. And if you can't do that, and again, I come back to this comparison, think about the poker player that's just like, injured my knee, I can't be a runner anymore. I used to be a runner. I kind of like playing poker. I'll do that instead. It's an all right way to make a living. Maybe I'll try that for a while. Chance of success, 0. Basically nothing. Player who is obsessed and poring over the game and thinking about it in their spare time and every free second that they have, chance of success dramatically higher than 0. Still quite low, by the way, because you have to get the other stuff right, but way, way better than 0. If you don't love the game, either walk away or find a way to love it. And if you can't love it, you're just in the wrong place. You're doing the wrong thing. Don't bother with the game. Like, you kind of like it. You like it when you're winning. You like the way it feels to win at the game, but you don't really like it otherwise. You're not a poker player. You're a gambler. You're using poker as a means of gambling. I'm sorry to be brutal, guys, but I don't actually want those of you who don't like the game much, that just want something from it, to play the game, because I just think it's bad for you long term. I think it's unhealthy. Energized volume. There are 3 types of poker player in the world. The first one is about 1% of people, and these are the players who put in energized volume. They play a lot of hands, and they do it in a curious, empowered, fascinated state where they just want to think about it. They want to do their best. They're performing, they're competing, they're battling. This is so hard to do for a long period of time. Multi-tabling, grinding a sample that's actually going to be relevant over a short enough space of time that it's worth doing. This is hard to do. The second type of player is someone that plays a lot of volume but is basically just a zombie like this. They're going through the motions. They're ingraining their current game so deeply that they have little hope of ever leaving it for something better. The more you ingrain your current habits, thought processes, weaknesses, the less likely it is that you will ever transcend those into something good enough to succeed at online poker. So this player here, this poor carrot man, he is playing way too much unfocused, uncurious volume. He's disengaged, he's clicking buttons. He's not studied for like 4 weeks. He doesn't talk to anyone else. He goes downstairs and he's just this vegetable, no pun intended. No, he's a carrot man, but he's like an unhappy one. He's sitting at the dinner table. He's just like drained because he's just been going through the motions. He may as well be doing some boring admin job because he's turned poker into something that, one, he can't improve at because he's just autopiloting and playing way too much volume in a disengaged state, and two, he's turned poker into something he no longer enjoys. In order to get better at the game and stay curious, not furious, just my quote for the week right now, I'm going to keep saying it and annoy you guys with it, you actually need to enjoy what you're doing, because we get better at things way faster when we're enjoying it. So if you've stopped enjoying poker along the way and you've become like kind of a zombie when you're playing, just stop playing any more volume. There is absolutely no point. Do you know, I've seen students at like 10 NL, 25 NL that have played 500,000 hands of break even or losing poker at those stakes. Absolutely mind-blowing, because if they'd spent some of that time getting curious about the game and learning and just focusing on the beauty of the game and not what it can do for them, they would never have put in all that volume. They've been driving around in a broken car that goes 1 mile per hour for 60 days when they could have just got the car up to 60 miles per hour and done the trip in 1 day. But they didn't, because they refused to fix the car, because they didn't care about the car. They just wanted the car to get them from A to B. You've got to look after the vessel that gets you from A to B, and that's your brain as it pertains to poker. On the other side of the equation, we have the poker student that comes to me and they're like, this is my last year's worth of volume, and it's like 15,000 hands. Some of you right now are thinking, God, that's me. Is that not a lot of hands? Like, I thought I did well this year to play 25,000 or whatever. Some of you are laughing at that because you're high volume players and you're like, that's like a week or a month maybe. But if you play anywhere under 100,000 hands in a year, and even a bit more than that as well, like, it's just nothing, and your years will just be up to variance. Basically, your results are not under your control. If you've had a good year where you played 45,000 hands and you're cherishing that, I'm sorry, it doesn't mean anything. If you had a good year where you played 800,000 hands and you're cherishing that, yeah, fair enough. So sorry to be this guy again and to just keep nitpicking all of the problems that might be in your poker career, but I'm trying to show them to you because I don't want you wasting your time. So in order for online poker to become a reality and not a fantasy, allocate enough space for it in your life that you can play minimum 50 or 40,000 hands a month. If you want to be a professional, if you want this to be your livelihood, you cannot be playing 10,000 hands a month. It won't get you anywhere, and it will create distortions of time and variance, and you will just be deluded as to your skill level all the time. Variance feels far worse and more extreme to low volume players because 1 month is just so different from the next because they're just 4,000 hand stretches. The guy that's played 40,000 hands in a year and has aspirations to be a professional poker player soon, it's just nonsense. It really is. It's complete fantasy. So how do we put these two things together? It all comes back to the love of the game, right? If you love the game enough and you're curious enough and studious enough, and you're willing to put in the time, not just on the tables, but also off the tables, studying at your desk, learning, you can take enjoyment and fascination and curiosity to the felt because you've just recently been studying in a really engaged way. But this volume zombie happens when you stop studying, stop learning, stop trying, and just hope it does good stuff for you. And the no volume guy happens when you're kidding yourself about the space you want to give poker in your life. And although you say that you want to be a poker player, you're unwilling to commit any time to it, and if you don't try, you can't fail, and you're maybe even using that as an excuse. So my advice is, if you're not enjoying the game that much, but you're just feeling like you have to do it and you want to make it your thing, either go all in or quit. Don't just sit here in this zombie space, like not playing or playing like unengaged. You've got to put in a lot of curious, switched on volume where you're enjoying the process of trying your best and trying to perform and apply what you're learning. That's what you've got to do. Which brings us to point 4, which is studying. You really, really have to study. Not just digesting courses like the Carrot Poker School or Cash Injection or whatever you've got your hands on. Doing your own independent study as well, which means having like a GTO Wizard or PIO access and using it intelligently and getting someone to show you how to use solvers intelligently if you don't already know. How to review your own hands in a way that's productive, that allows you to extrapolate general lessons for future spots that are common and important for your win rate, and how to use the solver to enhance the theory first and practice second thought process model that we preach at Carrot Corner, because it is the best way to understand the game. If you don't have a here's the theory, here's the exploit thought process, your chances of success, in my opinion, are very, very low. Because if you lack the theoretical backbone and you're one of these guys or girls that's using MDA or like pool tendencies, or a playbook that a coach has given you, or a do this, don't do that checklist that a coach has given you. Someone was telling me on my stream yesterday about having a coach that would get really upset if they argued back, if they disagreed, and would basically just fly off the handle every time and get angry. Like, there is a lot of poker coaching and teaching out there that just wants you to click the right buttons tomorrow when you play, and will try and get you to do that any means they can. Or maybe they just don't care what buttons you click and they just want to like get paid and don't want an easy life. But all of that sort of coaching is just very, very bad for you long term. Anyone that's trying to teach you, do this, it works, just do that, just don't do that, no, see that thing you did there, don't do that, and that's the teaching. Oh, here's a list of the stuff to do and the stuff not to do. Okay, that might get you to beat 10NL faster than working with me or getting like a proper education that we'll talk about in a minute, but long term it's not going to do anything for your game. You're just going to hit a wall at like 50NL, and then you're going to be stuck there because people are a bit better. The exploits you're doing don't make you as much money anymore, and the holes in your game, your inability to use judgment, your lack of general poker knowledge is going to absolutely just smack you in the face, and you're going to be stuck. You know, I've seen it so many times that someone blasts their way through 50NL by bluffing a good checklist of 15 spots, folding another 15 spots, and just does that by rote memory, and then they hit 100 and they just can't win, and then they end up giving up because they've just never learned the foundations. And it's such a harrowing feeling to realize that what you've done up to this point was like monkeys on a typewriter. It was like someone told you how to write Shakespeare by pressing the right keys on the typewriter and not by being a good playwright. And that means that you can only succeed when you know exactly which buttons to press with the game that you're playing. And that's really hard to teach. And there's so many spots that require judgment and finesse. So if you don't have theory first, exploit second, you're either that exploit monkey that's just sort of like bashing buttons, hoping it works, or you're some person that's trying to memorize GTO and they're just like only looking at theory, and maybe they're even understanding the whys of theory, but they're not in touch with street poker. They don't know how to maximally exploit recreational players, which is a huge source of your win rate, right? Say what you want about the morality of this, but this is basically where the win rate of the top pros comes from at any stake, is they're very, very good against recreational players. That's what opens the door to the bigger win rates, outlier win rates that aren't commonly accessible. In order to be that player for whom online poker is reality and not just fantasy, you have to study solvers, courses, your own hands, exploits for your pool, and you need to put it all together in a theory first, exploit second way, and you need to love the process of doing that. So if you're looking for easy answers, if you want to hire someone to tell you which buttons to press, don't watch this video. Don't watch me. There are people out there who will do that for you, and you might beat 10NL, and you might be able to look at a pretty graph with a nice red line for a bit and be like, look at me, but you're not going to amount to that much if that's your only way of studying the game. It's okay to do that stuff, by the way, as like a little bit of propulsion in your poker engine while you're studying theory, but don't only do that, right? So you got to study a lot, and you've got to study in the right way, and you've got to study in a switched on, curious way. One of the biggest reasons people fail at this game is they just stop studying. They just can't get into the swing of it. They don't know how to do it. They can't figure it out. That's why I made courses like the Carrot Poker School, because it gives you a systematic step-by-step walkthrough of the theory and exploits of the game. And it kind of means that you now know what sort of stuff to look at on your own to build on the material even further. The final thing today that we want to talk about that will make online poker closer to reality than fantasy is a proper poker education. And that's what we're all about. That's our business model. That's our target audience. We are a high price point, extremely dense, thorough course selling poker training company. We focus on quality and comprehensiveness, and we generate revenue by selling high ticket poker training items. We get to do that because they have a very good reputation. And the reason that the Carrot Poker School and courses like it at Carrot Corner have a good reputation is that they take you systematically through the entire game tree with homework, exams, all that sort of thing. And I'm sure there are other products by other people that are also good in this respect. I don't know exactly what they are, but this is our focus. This is what I've basically spent the last 5 years of my life making sure I can do well. The difference between a scattergun approach to learning poker, like going on YouTube and clicking this, clicking that, I'll just watch a bit of Bet and a Bad Beat here, Luke Johnson there, Saulo Costa there, all great poker players and all great content creators. But when you do that, you're not working through a systematic A to Z course, which is the whole reason that so many of the people in our Discord recommend the Carrot Poker School, speak very highly of it. When we surveyed people to rate how good it was, almost everyone gave it 5 stars. This was anonymous. They didn't have to say who they were on Discord or anything like that. And a few people gave it 4, and nobody out of over 100 people who bought it when we did the survey gave it less than 4 stars. No one. That's when I knew I was on to a winner. I was like, okay, this is our item, this is our product. I truly know that it works because I've seen people in the Discord discussing it. I've seen them say, I'm on grade 2 lecture 7, I'm on grade 3 lecture 4 now, I'm on grade E, the exploitative grade lecture 5, this is clicked, this is clicked. They'll talk about hands and be like, this is a Greed theorem from grade 2 lecture 6, the in position game, or this is the river blunder theorem from grade 2 lecture 2. Grade 2's got like a soft spot in my heart because I made it first, and it's funny, I made grade 2 before grade 1. But yeah, whatever you end up doing, however you end up studying the game, because poker is such a rigorous discipline, it's such a difficult, massive beast of a game, it deserves the same approach that any academic university subject would deserve. Like, if you were going to become a good lawyer, you wouldn't just sit and click law videos on YouTube, right? You might do that to research something for a bit of learn-tainment to supplement your learning, but you wouldn't just do that. So one of the biggest reasons that poker remains fantasy for people is that they've never invested time or resources into a proper education in this discipline. And one of the reasons for that is that there haven't been that many options that have allowed that A to Z approach to be accessible. And I think that's what we've done really well. Yeah, I didn't even intend this to be like a big rant about the Carrot Poker School, although I'm obviously very passionate about my baby as it is. You know, it's like my blood, sweat and tears. It's my creation. I'm working on a new course now that's all about an exact structured game plan node by node and understanding the theory and the exploits perfectly. That's way in the making. It's going to be many, many months before that's ready. But in the meantime, yeah, the Carrot Poker School's there, or find, if not that, if not Carrot Corner, if not me, find something comparable that's very structured like that, and don't make it your only learning. Don't get lost in theory and just like only watch courses. That makes you not very sharp at the tables. That happened to me for a long time, where I just barely played, didn't stream much poker, didn't play much poker, wasn't trying to play well when I streamed, was just kind of going through the motions. And when you don't play in that switched on, engaged way, it does hurt you a lot. So you have to hand review, you have to work in solvers, you have to work with the course, and you have to play in a curious way. You have to put all the 5 things together. You have to build the mental muscle and the capacity for suffering as well. You have to do all of this. Let's recap. Firstly, you have to build the ability to endure and suffer during bad times. There will be many, many of them. And most people who fail at this game just never build that muscle. You're going to suck at it at first. You have to get that resilience stat up by running bad and dealing with it and coming back and trying again over and over again until it becomes easier. Secondly, you need to love the game for what it is, for the nuts and bolts, for the very essence of it, not for it being a means to your ends, not for what it can do for you in terms of career or freedom or financial assets. It needs to be poker first. Remember my story where I was like feeling physical sensations of being enamored with the game, like literally getting butterflies on the train over the thought of check raising someone with a certain type of hand, probably a gutter and a backdoor draw. So important to cultivate that. If you don't have that, maybe it's just not for you. There's other things you could love more. Maybe you should do those. Volume of the right type, not the wrong type. You're switched on, you're curious, not furious. You're really trying your best at all times, and you're willing to take a break and explore the stuff that just happened to you. You're not just playing for hours and hours on end, ingraining your old, not good enough game as your eternal game. Studying, developing the skills to work with solvers, to work with peers, to review hands, to do theory first and exploit second in your thought process. Very important. And finally, getting an education in the game, like having a proper, comprehensive, thorough grounding in poker theory and how exploitative poker works, so that you can feel like an educated poker player and not someone that's forever just winging it. I think far too many people wing it when it comes to poker. They just think that because they won last week that they now can just figure it out. I've been there as well when I was really young. I used to just, like, every time I went on an upswing, think I had it all nailed, and then realize I didn't on the next downswing. But yeah, poker education, proper grounding is going to help you with that. It's going to stabilize you. It's going to anchor you. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Given that I went on about the Carrot Poker School, do use a discount code if you go over to Carrot Corner. Have a 20% discount by using the code REALITY. One word, because that's why we're here today. We're trying to make poker more reality than fantasy. Hope you've liked this. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll see you next time. Do check out the streams we're doing, by the way. I'm doing a stream series called Crush 100 NL. It's almost on a daily basis, Monday through Friday at the moment. check out some of the older videos. And by the way, guys, do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Some of our videos are getting age restricted, which means they will not be shown to you if you're not logged into YouTube. Subscribing to the channel will help, but also do log into YouTube. It doesn't take long. It means you'll be shown all age restricted content, you know, not just this is happening across the poker space. So if you're, you know, a regular viewer of poker content, you're probably not seeing all of it right now because a lot of it's just being hidden behind age restrictions if you're not logged into YouTube. So I'd recommend doing that as well. All right. See you next time. Bye for now.